Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dream Team. I'm Trent Lenkarski,
And I'm Alice Langlois.
and we're back after a little break.
Yeah, and now it's spooky season.
Yes.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, I disappeared to Massachusetts for a few weeks and watched some leaves change, and I'm ready. I'm rip-roaring, ready to go.
Oh, me too. I've been busy working on my Halloween costume, spending some time in the autumn leaves. It's beautiful weather out here in Oregon too. My favorite gloomy, rainy Pacific Northwest.
Perfect fall weather.
Oh, such a good time of year, yeah. And also the perfect weather to curl up in bed and take a nap.
Yes. It is also a blistering 85 degrees here in Los Angeles, though, so.
Oh.
But perfect fall weather.
Yay.
It was good to get to New England for a little break from this, but yeah.
New England in the fall is one of my favorite places of all time.
Yes.
But anyway, we're back with our regularly scheduled sweet dreams and cozy vibes.
Yeah. I had some good dreams while I was away on my trip, but have you had any good ones recently?
Yeah, I have one that I was actually reminded of from a listener submission that we'll get to later. I had this dream earlier this year. Unfortunately, I'm usually really good about putting dates. And unfortunately, I did not put one for this dream, but
Oh no.
based on the context of these notes, I'm thinking it was sometime in the spring or early summer of this year. So it's not a super old dream. I had it fairly recently.
Cool.
But yeah, it took place where I live outside of Portland, and I wrote a flash flood of biblical proportions was happening.
Oh.
It was like have you seen the movie Ponyo, the Ghibli movie?
Yes, of course.
It was like that, like that sort of like
Oh no.
impossible levels of flooding where like everything gets covered in water, like
Right.
just like rain pouring down, like just feet and feet of water that like could never possibly happen like that, but just
Giant fish swimming down the street.
yeah, literally.
Whoa.
And out of some crazy luck, I had a kayak, and it wasn't mine because I don't actually own a kayak. And it was funny because the public transportation system in and around Portland is called TriMet.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, the buses and the train and the streetcars, they have, the TriMet symbol on them. And my kayak was like a TriMet branded kayak.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh geez.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, this is funny. I have a little TriMet kayak. So like public transit rep in my dreams.
Yes. Was it sorry to interrupt, but was this like after the flood, or was this like during the flood?
It was raining and everything was flooding, and I was like somewhere. I wasn't at my apartment, but I was somewhere nearby.
Okay.
And the first thing that I thought I had to do was to get to Portland. I live in the suburbs outside of the city, but at the time my boyfriend was living across the Willamette River in eastern Portland, and I was just like, oh no, I have to go check on him. So I immediately got in my little kayak and started paddling east towards Portland. And as I was going, it was like Ponyo, like I could just see like the tops of trees poking out over the water, and like even what looked like these tiny little like mountain peaks that were just like completely hills that were just like completely underwater. And at times too, like I would kayak like through buildings. Like it would be like a really tall building sticking up out of the water, and I would like go through like an open window or something and like paddle through a hallway or something and like go out the other side. And there would be like people standing around in like several inches of water, like not like trying to figure out what to do while I was like kayaking through. Yeah, it was kind of comical. And all along the way, I was seeing people who I know and work with out here, and I would just like say hi to them and like check on them and like, you know, head on my way. And then at some point I was like on the 26 or something, the highway, paddling, and I was just like, oh shoot, I should probably go get my cat.
Oh no.
So I was just like, oh no, my poor cat is in my apartment and it's flooding. So I turned back the way I came because I thought, well, I can still go see my boyfriend. I just have to bring my cat with me. I could put her in a little carrier and then we can go together. And there was something really interesting I wrote here. So for a myriad of reasons, I don't have a car and don't drive. And
Me too.
yeah, no car squad,
Also
no car gang.
Yeah.
And for the most part, it's fine. I mean, I love using public transit. And I also, there are a lot of benefits that I feel are to be had, not having a car to deal with.
Yeah.
But it is frustrating not to drive sometimes. And I recall as I was going to find Punchki and kayaking, how...
Punchki's the cat.
Yes, Punchki is my cat.
Yes.
It's her birthday today, by the way.
Whoa.
She just
Happy birthday,
She just
Punchki.
turned 3.
Whoa.
Anyway, cat birthdays aside, I wrote in my notes that I felt excited about the flood because it was allowing me to travel in a mode of transportation on my, like, by myself wherever I wanted to go. Because it felt really freeing to be able to go on roads by myself in my own personal mode of transport that was just mine, like having a car. And I just thought that was like an interesting note that, like, even though it was a very dire situation, I was really pleased at having the freedom to just like go where I want, like not just like without just having to walk, you know?
Yeah.
Like, to be honest with you, if all roads around here were like water and I could just take a boat to work or something, and I didn't have to like own a car or like how like maintain a driver's license or like buy gas or like deal with all that crap, that'd be really awesome for me, you know?
Yeah.
not practical by any means, but
if every city suddenly became Venice.
Yeah.
Canals everywhere.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds really cool. Maybe without a flash flood, though.
Yes.
I found a bridge on the way back where people were crossing by foot, carrying their boats over an area of water that was raging too quickly to go safely on. There was a waterfall crossing over one side of the bridge, and people were covering their heads with the boats to protect themselves while they went under it. And I actually woke up from the dream around this point. But in a very rare turn of events for me, I was actually able to fall back asleep and continue it, which does not happen to me very often. So this is nice. Technically a 2-part dream, but I was able to kind of resume the same narrative. I was able to safely get back to my apartment, and I got Punchki and I put her in her little cat backpack. And I also, there was this other strange kind of creature there. It looks sort of like a mix between a dragon and a bird. Like, it had sort of feathery wings and like a weird sort of lizardy face. And it seemed to like understand me when I spoke to it. So I was just like, well, you're here and probably in trouble, so you should come with us too. And then I briefly considered trying to like stay in the apartment for a second and like duct tape the windows or something. I was just like worried about the water damaging all my stuff. Yeah. But then I was like, that's stupid, and I don't think that would actually work. So I just left and headed back to Portland. And on the way to Portland again, I saw even more people that I knew, like other groups of kayakers and like old friends and like coworkers and stuff like that. And just like people, everybody seemed to be heading in the same direction. And yeah, like I saw my boss at one point and was just like, hey, what's up? And we're just like, yeah, we're just trying to like figure out what's going on.
Also kayaking?
No, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I saw one of my friends who was like wading through the water or like on some sort of like concrete wall that was like still above it. And I was like, "Hey, are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm good." And he had this backpack full of supplies, so I was just like, "He's probably fine." Um, and yeah, like the roads were all fucked up. It was just crazy. And I finally made it. So like when you go into Portland from the west, you have to go through a tunnel. It's like it's a very well done tunnel because everybody honks their horn when you drive through it, and it's super annoying. But yeah, I got to the tunnel, and there was this big sort of like house like structure again that I had to sort of go through in the kayak like while it was flooded. It was just like all these hallways and stairs and like weird rooms. And while I was in this strange building that had popped up, I started noticing that there were these really weird creatures sort of like in the periphery of my vision, like hanging around in the water. They were like, they look sort of deformed, like they look sort of like bats mixed with cats, and they just looked really spooky and strange, and they were kind of just like lurking, and I just felt like something, like this was more than just a flood, like something weird was going on.
Oh.
And I made it to a large empty room, and there was no way to go forward. And as soon as I realized that, I noticed that a bunch of these weird creatures had been like following me, like stalking me. Yeah,
Uh-oh.
I was just like, what is going on? And I started like looking for a way to escape. And I like, because this little dragon bird thing that I had found in my apartment seemed to be intelligent in some way, like sentient. I asked it if it could like go and like distract the weird shadow creatures. And yeah, I took Ponchki out of the backpack, and I put the dragon bird thing in the backpack as like bait, I guess. And I don't know, put it in the water or something, and because I knew the creature could probably get out of it just fine. And I found a window in the room and like pried it open and pushed my kayak through it. And then I grabbed the bird dragon thing and jumped out the window. And I landed on this like wet, like it was a hillside, so it hadn't gotten fully flooded. It was just like this grassy hillside. And there was a huge crowd of people at the bottom of the hill, and there was a door, and it was just like this wall that you'd have to go into to get to Portland, like a wall that wouldn't normally be there, with just like a door in the bottom. And there was a bunch of people standing around it in like lab coats. They looked like cartoon scientists, like just like white lab coats. And there was also some people who looked like aviators, like bomber jacket, like goggles, like someone who could fly like a little biplane or something.
Old-timey pilots.
Yeah, and so I walk down, and like the door opens, and this like aviator walks out of the door looking like kind of defeated. And as I am getting closer, they're like you shouldn't be here, like you need to go and like, you know, find higher ground, like you shouldn't, like don't come closer. And they said, I heard one of the scientists saying how 18 pilots had already crashed due to high winds on the other side of the door. And I was like, what is going on? And I took the little dragon bird creature, and like, I don't know, this is just like one of those dream things where you just like you just know a fact.
Yes, yeah.
You know?
I know that.
So I wrote, the dragon bird is a creature of storm and wind and can handle flying in dangerous conditions with ease, which I and one of the scientists relay to the others. So I just came up and I was just like, hey, this guy can do it. Check out this creature.
This is a bird of storm and wind.
Yeah. Random girl just shows up and like does like a wizard side quest, like, take this, you will need it on your journey.
Yes.
The dragon bird grows to an immense size, and I hop on with Ponchki in her backpack, and we fly inside the door into a massive room, like a kitchen for a giant. It looked like the inside of a house, but just everything was huge. There are windows on all sides as we initially circle around that seem to lead to enclosed spaces where people are watching, like being in an aquarium. As we initially circle a room in flight, we near the scientists shouting information. Every 5 minutes or so, water shoots from the gigantic kitchen area, causing the flood to worsen. Winds pick up for the duration of the water shooting out, and then it stops. I examine the sink area. There are 2 large figures near it, a king and a queen chess piece. If you touch the queen, it activates the water instantly. Otherwise, it starts every 5 minutes or so. I look around, and under the sink, I see that the water comes through a hidden hole and an additional hose in the back of the counter, not the sink itself. I try to think of how I can disconnect it. Somehow beyond this room is the rest of the city, and we have to turn off the water to de-manifest this weird room and stop the flood. But unfortunately, I woke up right as the water started to pour from the kitchen again.
No.
It got super weird at the end, but it was such a
Wow.
wacky, like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Very surreal.
It was extremely surreal, but I also find that it was like weirdly coherent in the sense that like the flood had a cause that was like identified.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, like I think it might have been a chicken or the egg situation where it's like, did the flood happen first, or did these weird sort of like buildings start popping up all around the city? You know, like these buildings with these creatures inside of them. And then one of them had this huge, like, malfunctioning kitchen sink that was, like, flooding everything.
Yeah.
That's just me speculating after the fact, but it was very bizarre.
Wow. That's a wild one.
Yeah, I forgot I had that one.
I'm glad you fell asleep and saw the second half.
Yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't keep going to solve the flood issue, but I got to figure out what was causing it in the first place.
Very good. Well, that's a good one.
What about you? I want to hear about all your vacation dreams.
Yes. Well, I wrote down 2. I think I might just do one of them though. Actually I wrote down 3.
Whoa.
Oh, I'm going to do 2 actually. I lied. Oh wait, I wrote down 4.
Your brain was on overdrive.
Yeah. I'm going to do like a serious one, and then I have a really short kind of funny one I forgot about. So this one I had on October 5th. It was a pretty coherent dream, but there was like some little like gaps that were happening. But so the main premise of it is that I was like an accomplice in a bank robbery.
Whoa.
So
doing crime.
Yeah. So I remember at the beginning I was like in a car with this guy, and it was like this bald guy, and we drove to like a parking lot in this kind of like foresty area. So I guess maybe me imagining being home and like just like a Stop and Shop parking lot or whatever. So that's where it was. I think we were just driving through some like windy foresty roads, and then we got to this parking lot, and then so I think there was like a parking lot, there was like a mall, but then there was also like a bank, and that's what we were robbing. So
Whoa.
It was just like a small bank in a small town, and I think a security guard was shot, but I don't know if I was the one that shot them or if it was the other guy. But yeah.
Whoa.
But either way, then there's kind of like a gap, and then we were in like this like back room, like robbing it. But it's weird because it was like we weren't trying to get like money. It was like we were trying to get this other thing. Because when we were leaving, we just had like this shopping cart, and it just had like this small like metal box. It was like just like not even like a briefcase. It was just like this small little like square box.
Huh.
So that's what we robbed from the bank. I don't know if it was money or if it was some kind of like hard drive or something.
Sounds like maybe you're trying to steal the Krabby Patty secret formula or something.
It could have been. They keep it at a secure bank.
Yeah.
It could have been that. I don't know though.
A hard drive with all of their bitcoins on it.
Yes. The Krusty Krab's bitcoins. Oh, the banks bit
Krusty
Bitcoin.
Krab
Or
crypto.
both.
That's
But yeah, so
wild.
that's not all. But wait, there's more. And then the second part of the dream, so like we were like walking through the parking lot, but in my head we were like dressed like bank robbers. Like we had like full like black leather outfits, or not leather, but like just full like
Do you have
black
like
garb. We had like
masks and stuff?
face masks.
Yeah.
I think we did, yeah. But we just like walked out front like nothing happened, and like we had a shopping cart, so it's like we're just shoppers, and like nobody really noticed us or stopped us.
Hello, fellow
Um,
citizens.
even though there was like police and they were talking to like witnesses and stuff, and we were just like walking by.
Just buying our mysterious metal box from the Stop and Shop today.
Maybe the box was protecting us. Maybe it was a
Oh,
cloak. I don't know.
whoa.
But either way, we kept walking, and then we got to this was a part that was like didn't really fully make sense. It was like we went to a different car, like this crappy, I think it was like a tan Volkswagen, like a really old Volkswagen car. Um, and for whatever reason, I had to drive it. And then we were in the car for a little bit, and then I think we were driving for a while, and then like the bald guy started like freaking out at me because he had like an earpiece that he took from the guard that we shot, and he's like, for whatever reason, he's like, they can track it, they can track us through the earpiece. You should have told me to take it out, blah blah blah, like getting all mad at me. And I'm like, dude, I don't know, I'm trying to drive. And oh yeah, and there was like a weird scene where I was before that, I was like trying to get the car out of the parking lot, and it was like classic dream car logic where it just doesn't work.
Oh.
So I was like backing up, and it was just very like floaty and like drifty. Yeah, and I think I like almost hit like some other car that was in the parking lot, but I didn't, and we were able to escape.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, and then it just kind of ended with like us just like him yelling at me and being like, and then like throwing the earpiece out the window, and it was like, all right, well, this is fine, whatever. And that's kind of how it ended. It just kind of ended.
So did
but
you
yeah.
ever get to find out what was in the box?
No, I don't know. We walked in, and we had a shopping cart, and we left with this metal box
That's
from
so
the bank.
crazy.
Yeah. But I have like two little notes about it. The whole dream felt weirdly calm / stoic. Like it never felt like hectic. It was never like, this is a bank robbery, blah blah blah. It was just like we just like walked in, and then maybe it was because there was like those little jumps, those time jumps.
Yeah.
But it was just like we got the thing, then we had the box, then we left, and then yeah.
Fascinating.
And then yeah, and I wrote that even though I've never played them, but I've watched people play them. It was like the Hitman games. I don't know if you've ever seen people play those.
It's a
But it's like,
series, right?
yeah.
I've heard of them. I don't know if I've watched people play them though.
But yeah, maybe that's why there was a bald guy. There was something in my head that's like, because I think the character in that game is like bald, and so it was like maybe it was him with me. But he was like yelling at me, and I don't think the guy talks in the game. I don't know though. But yeah, that was that one. And then I had a really short one, but I'll read it because it's funny, if that's all right.
Yes, please.
So thank you. So I had this one a little bit earlier on the 30th, September 30th. And I just wrote, dream that I was on a hike with my parents. We were reaching the end of the trail, and it was a cornfield-like area. So there's like rows of corn on one side, rows of corn on another, and it was just like a straight path down the middle. And then we saw a deer quickly like jump across, like just going to the right or whatever. And then it was like, whoa, that was crazy. And then like a second later, there was like a bear that jumped like the same direction. Oh wait, no, I wrote a bear bolted the other direction. So like a deer jumped to the right, and then from like that side, a bear jumped the other way. And then, but then it jumped back and followed the deer. And then it's like, it was almost like a meme where it was like, then all of a sudden there's just like hundreds of bears like jumping like in both directions. And then,
Sorry, well, that's so
like,
funny. I don't know why that's
like
so
just
funny.
super fast. Yeah, and then at the end, like one just kind of slowly started like walking over to us, like from all that chaos, and then I woke up.
That's so
So
the dream
I've
of
never had a dream
10,000
like that.
bears.
Yeah, it was insane.
That's such a fun. Oh my gosh. I wish I could dream that. That's so hilarious.
Yeah, I've never had a dream like that. It was like there's this one meme. It might have been something about that meme in my head, but it's like this guy. He's like pretending to be a bouncer. He's like, "All right, let's get some deer in here, more deer." If you,
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking
yeah, and
about.
at the end there's like hundreds of it. It was like that, but bears, and they were going like both directions really fast.
Let's get some more
But
bears in here. Yep, more
yeah,
bears.
so those are my dreams from traveling home.
That's absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Of course, two very different themes.
It's amazing what traveling can do to your brain.
Yes, thank you for sharing yours too,
Yeah, of course.
or the flood.
Yeah, the Great Flood of 2023 in Alice's brain. Only.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, the Great Flood, Alice's brain version. Hey, I've got kind of a wild dream fact for you.
Oh, I would love to hear it.
I wanted to, in honor of spooky season, for the next 2 episodes, do some dream facts focusing on nightmares.
Oh, yes.
And
We'll have a little announcement at the end, right?
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we have a special spooky request for our listeners this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So stay tuned. But this dream fact went in kind of a surprising direction. It actually comes with a little bit of a story. Right before we started recording, I was just typing up some notes on what I had learned about sort of the origin of the word nightmare and like why we use that term. And it was originally just going to be this like general fact about that. And then it just went in this completely different direction because I just went down this really strange rabbit hole. But anyway, so in folklore, there are these creatures called mares or mara. There's several different very similar words for this kind of creature in all different languages, especially like Germanic, Slavic, Scandinavian like languages in like that region of the world. And a mare is a creature that walks or sits on your chest while you sleep, which causes you to have nightmares. And the etymology of the word mare or mara isn't totally clear, but there are people who think that it comes from the root word mer, M-E-R, which means crushing or pressing, which makes sense. And some people think it might come from the Greek root moros, which means doom.
Ooh.
But yeah, they can. These mares can ride horses in mythology, which causes the horses to become very tired and sweaty. They can ride people and cause them. There was a few sources that I read where it specifically referenced them tangling up people's hair in their sleep, and it made me wonder if that has anything to do with bedheads. And then this is where it gets weird. So I begun, as I usually do, by starting with just like a basic Wikipedia article, and then I'll go from there to find other sources.
Right.
And so in this Wikipedia article, it also noted that mares can ride trees. And similar to how they might cause a person's hair to become tangled, they cause the branches of trees to become tangled. And it specifically referenced these coastal evergreen trees, which in Sweden are called martalar. I don't know if that's being pronounced correctly, so forgive me if I misspoke. And they're also found in Germany, and there's a German word for them as well that roughly translates to nightmare pines. And I don't know if you've ever seen, I mean, you might have seen some since you're in California now. I've seen a lot of these on the coast of Oregon, but when you go to a coastal region where evergreen trees go, which is fairly common in the Pacific Northwest, you notice that they look a lot different than their brethren that grow more inland. They're kind of shorter and very gnarly looking, and depending on the wind direction, they might also be like super super leaned back. They look almost like proportionally like a big bonsai tree. I can send you some pictures. I'll post some on our Instagram too, of some of the trees that I saw when I was camping near the Washington coast over the summer. And just as an aside, the reason why this happens is because, you know, from being a seedling, when these trees are growing on the coast, they're being buffeted constantly from day one by these high winds coming in from the ocean. And they're not a different species or anything. Like, they're the same species as a pine tree you might find further inland typically, but being constantly buffeted by the wind, they have to grow differently to be able to survive. If they grew perfectly tall and straight, it would be easier for them to get knocked over from the wind. So they grow sort of shorter and scranglier, just to like suit the environment better, of these high coastal winds. But I was so intrigued by this idea that there was this myth about these coastal trees looking like that because of nightmares, essentially. Like these trees having nightmares. I was just so enamored by that. But I couldn't for the life of me find any further sources about it. Like, I was Googling it, and every single article I found quoted this exact same few sentences from the Wikipedia article. I didn't even know I didn't know which one was even the first source to say it. Like, I couldn't figure out if the Wikipedia article had copied it from one of these articles. I couldn't figure out if these articles had copied it from the Wikipedia page. But everything I was finding was just these exact same, like, 2 sentences. So I was like, is this even real? Like, is this even anything? Like, has anybody...
The tree thing?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Specifically the tree thing. Like, I couldn't find any different information about it besides like word for word, like the sentences that were in the Wikipedia page. So I was just worried that maybe there wasn't any credibility to it. And you know, I'll be honest, like, we're not like journalists or anything. I'm not doing like professional grade research here. So, you know, I
solemnly
can't
swear that I am not a journalist. Not if there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah. No. And like, obviously we're not trying to spread misinformation, but I like to try and make sure that the facts that I'm sharing, A, are facts, and B, are like, you know, sufficiently like backed up by at least credited a few different people. And so everywhere I looked, it was just the same thing. It was just like, you know, these twisted coastal pines in like Sweden and Germany are like called these things. And then again, like right before we recorded, I was looking again, and I just kept scrolling down Google, and I found this one like Facebook post that actually had somebody who was writing different information about it. And I clicked on it, and it brought me to Chinese Facebook. So that was a thing. I couldn't click on anything because it was Chinese Facebook. I don't know what was going on. And so I tried typing the name of the person who posted the post in my Facebook app, and nothing came up. Like, it didn't exist on my Facebook at all. And then I noticed on the page that I was looking at on Google, it said it was one of those Facebook posts that got cross-posted from Instagram.
Okay.
So you know how like you can post something on Instagram and have it automatically also post to your Facebook? Yeah. It was one of those from like 2018. So I looked up this person's name. His name was like Brandon Hodge or something. And it was like Brandon Hodge - mysterious planchette. Like what you would use on a Ouija board. So I typed that into Instagram, and there was a user called Mysterious Planchette whose name was Brandon Hodge. And I scrolled all the way down his feed until I got to 2018, and I found this post where I could actually read the full caption. And again, I don't
say. What did it say?
I was just gonna say I want to read it to you guys because it's really interesting. And again, this is just some guy who seems to write about sort of like occult and spooky stuff on Instagram. I don't know how reliable of a source he is, but he was the only person who seemed to have like some auxiliary knowledge of this nightmare tree phenomena. So he was talking about how he was taking his daughter nightmare hunting. He said, "My parents have a house by the lake. I don't know where. And sometimes when we're staying here and my daughter has a nightmare, we go and hunt it to make sure it doesn't visit her again. Lots of cultures and folklore cast nightmares as creatures. Spectral nightly visitors that perched on an unsettled sleeper's chest and brought them bad dreams." And they mentioned a few things about like, you know, French, Germanic, Old English, Scandinavian, how like all of these cultures have these similar creatures, which was what I was reading about in the Wikipedia article. And then he says, in some cultures, it was thought that nightmares rested in trees growing along the shores of bodies of water, where the border between the sleeping and the waking world is weakest. These coastal trees where nightmares perched developed twisted, crooked branches that revealed where the invisible creatures rested during the day. And this characteristic earns the trees their names. Martalar, which I found in the Wikipedia article, and then I'm going to try, I don't know how to speak German, but Albtraum Kiefer, or nightmare pine in German. It was even believed that if rainwater dripped through one of these nests during the storm and fell on your head, you'd certainly be visited by the nesting nightmare that evening.
Oh no.
Isn't that interesting? And this was the only place on the internet besides this Wikipedia article that I could find information about these nightmare trees. So like I don't know who this Brandon guy is, but he seems to have some him? I mean I could DM him, ask him about where he found out that information. Because I think it's really fascinating. Like I've always like thought that coastal plants and trees were so strange looking, and thinking about other people seeing those and being like, those trees definitely be having nightmares is like super
There's
cool.
There's a creature sitting in that tree.
Yeah. And like tangling up its branches. Like I don't know. I have never heard of that before, and I just thought that was so cool. So I went down this wild rabbit hole to figure out like what's up with these creepy nightmare trees.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you. We should definitely message him and then report back if he responds.
Yeah, I mean he seems to be like actively posting stuff.
Cool.
About like Ouija boards. I only made a cursory look at his page.
Cool.
I also noticed he was followed by, do you know that meme account Arcane Bullshit?
Yes, I saw that. I just looked.
That account follows him, so I was just like, oh, it's gotta be good.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Maybe I'll shoot him a DM.
I had one question.
Yeah,
if you have an answer. What do mares look like, or what do nightmares look like? Did you find a description?
They kind of look like a lot of different things. Like, they're.
Because immediately I think of horses.
Well, yeah, I mean, mare is like, you know, the word for usually like a female horse. A lot of the images that you, like if you look up mare folklore and you just look at some of the images, there's a lot of images of just like creepy little guys is the best way that I could describe them. Like
demons?
There seems to be... Yeah, so they seem to be kind of demonic. There's a lot of paintings, I'm looking at some right now, of these very like sort of I have just fainted on my fainting couch, like beautiful fair-skinned women in like, you know, sheer nightgowns, and there's just this sort of like little demonic crouching man just like hanging out on their chest or stomach.
chubby little gremlin with pointed ears.
Yeah, and they just sort of like I'm seeing one too. There's like a man in bed, and there's this little sort of like Smeagol looking guy just sort of like chilling on the bed with him while he seems to be having a unsettling dream. And there's a few depictions where they're a bit more grand, like with big sort of demonic wings and like gesticulating wildly over usually some like, you know, seems to be beautiful woman. And there's a few depictions of them riding horses as well, and for the most part they do seem to be sort of like small demonic men.
Yeah, it's weird, these paintings. I think I'm seeing the same paintings you're talking about. There's always like a horse like peeking in. It's weird.
Well, I think it's because that is how they travel.
That's how they get to you.
They ride horses, yeah.
They got to follow traffic laws to get to you.
Mm-hmm. And then whatever horse they're like riding on in the dream world wakes up in real life feeling very exhausted and sweaty, apparently. So if your horse is very sweaty and tired, it might have been getting ridden around by a mare while it was sleeping.
Interesting.
If you work out in your dream, you work out in real life. Totally true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely gonna get more into this nightmare stuff for next week as well.
Yeah.
Or next episode, because there's a lot of really interesting folklore surrounding nightmares that we just haven't gotten into yet.
Yeah, definitely. As I'm looking, I'm seeing a little infograph of some other creatures, and some of them are some familiar faces to our podcast.
Oh, is there
the Niknosta, the Baku?
The Baku, yeah, I was just thinking of that little guy.
And the Niknosta, the kind of creepy lady, right?
The Polish creepy lady.
Yeah, and some other creatures that we'll talk about next episode.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get real spooky. Don't worry.
Heck yeah. Well, thank you very much for the dream fact.
Yeah, of course.
That was a good one. And then, shall we
get into some submissions?
Yeah.
I have to start off a double submission from Michael. I thought maybe we could split it up. I could read the first one.
Oh, yeah.
I included both because they're kind of related to each other. I thought they went well together.
Okay. Yeah, it works for me. Do you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Okay, doke.
So this is from Michael. And Michael writes, "Hello, Alice and Trent. Thank you as always for the lovely vibes. I have 2 dreams to share of many recent dreams that have something of a theme going. Currently experiencing that REM rebound you talked about in episode 13. For anybody who doesn't remember, it's an interesting phenomenon that happens if you have been regularly smoking weed or consuming cannabis in some way, and then you stop. And a lot of people experience really vivid dreams after they stop. Anyway, Michael continues, so the first dream was something from a bad college football movie from the 80s, where the nerds get picked on by the jocks. I was sitting with some of the nerds, and we were laughing like great friends. Some jocks walked by, and one of them kicked dirt onto us. I stood up without hesitating and called them out, told them to stop messing with my friends, and their response was to challenge me to a fight. Now, I'd like to say that I've never had formal training of how to fight in any form or capacity. However, when the fight broke out, there was suddenly a shift in the cinematic theme of the dream. Suddenly, I was surrounded by jocks, and I took some kind of karate stance. The point of view shifted as well, and I began to experience the rest of the dream outside of myself. I watched on as multiple jocks at a time attacked me, and I thwarted them with sweet karate moves, flipping and dropping and whooping them one after another. No one was really hurt. It was almost like we were playing a game, like my subconscious was having fun with me. Once the last jock was down, a wave of confidence and satisfaction washed over me, and I woke up. It's pretty awesome.
Very good.
That dream made me think of you because you had that one where it started off where you were yourself, and then the rest of it you were watching yourself.
Oh, which one? Wait.
Do you remember a couple episodes ago, you like got in a fight with some guy,
Oh yeah, the one that was like chasing me.
And then afterwards, you were just watching it happen. Like you weren't you anymore.
Yeah, I remember that.
Kind of interesting that's just like a universal dream mechanic.
Yeah, you can have that shift, perspective shift.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll do the second one. The next dream was similarly themed in a way of overcoming some type of adversity in a way I never quite imagined in real life. In the dream, I joined a boxing club and could feel that I had some knowledge of boxing already. I must have bragged because I was immediately paired up with another boxer to spar. Again, I had begun in some stance I wouldn't know about in real life and started bouncing on my feet. The opponent approached me and I knocked him down with 2 punches. Simple victory for boxer me. But the opponent was not happy. The dream then cascaded into a succession of fights with this same opponent, all over what felt like 1 month apart. Each time my opponent looked stronger and bigger and tougher and madder, and each time I knocked him out with 2 punches. This kept going until about 15 fights later. My opponent was nearly unrecognizable from the first time we met. A monstrosity of muscle and hard studied in the art of boxing. Again, confidence washed over me like I've never felt in real life. This time I woke up before the fight began. Just the rush of feeling good woke me up. The feelings I felt in these dreams are as close as what I can think of when people talk about flying in their dreams. I've never had a flying dream. I don't know how to fight, but in these dreams I was a master, and it just came natural to me. Thanks again for being lovely, awesome people and for doing this podcast. Michael.
I really like both of those. I just like that, like, it was always a good ending for Michael.
Yes.
I feel like half the
That's
time when
cool.
I'm having a conflict, I never wake up in time or I always wake up before I know truly how it ends, you know?
Yeah.
Like I'm about to start a fight and I don't know how it's gonna go, or like I'm in the middle of a conflict and I just wake up. But the fact that Michael is just like, I'm gonna beat these guys and I feel great.
Yeah. Or the creature's just about to appear and then you wake up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But just like
Interesting.
Michael writing, like, the rush of feeling good woke me up. Like, man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I've never had that.
No, I don't know if I have either. I feel like it's either like a jarring sensation being woken up, or I think a lot of times, because it feels like an inopportune moment, I almost feel like I'm being dragged away from something that I'm trying to do, or I'm like, oh, I need to go do this thing. Wait, no, I'm waking up. No. Like, I don't know if you know what I mean, but
you get pulled out. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you're being pulled
totally
out,
do.
and you can't go back. But just like that feeling of just like satisfaction and confidence, like, man, that's awesome.
Yeah. I'm pretty jealous.
I know. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that with us, Michael.
Yeah. Very good fighting dreams. Thank you, Michael.
I like the comparison to flying too, because like for me,
Yeah.
you know, I've never flown in real life, so it is a really cool thing to do in a dream. And if you've never fought like that in real life too, I can see why it would be a valid comparison, where it's just like a cool thing you can do just in your dreams.
Yeah. The thrill of the kill. Or the fight, I mean, I don't know.
I don't think Michael killed anyone.
No.
Just boxing. Just sweet kicks and flips.
The thrill of the punching.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
I've got one more. This is the one that reminded me of the dream that I wanted to share earlier in the episode. It comes from, and I don't know if this is just this person's initials, WHU, or we could call them Woo. They didn't. I couldn't find a signature in the email, so this is from WHU. Hi. I listen to your podcast every now and then, and I thought I'd submit my own dream that I had 2 nights ago. It really spooked me, but I'm struggling to remember some parts. This is basically all I can remember. So, for a bit of info, I live in the UK, so the whole dream is set there. It starts with me being in my room. I'm just sitting there until my dad calls me to watch the TV. I go downstairs and watch it, only to find the main headline being that the whole country is flooding, and it's only a matter of time before it floods everywhere.
Oh, no.
Our family packed most of our things except for my grandparents, who decided to stay behind. My dad had a mini argument with them, but eventually he gave up. We got in the car, and for most of the drive, my dad was bawling his eyes out, so my mom had to drive. Eventually, we had to stop driving as we hit a lot of traffic, and we waited for what must have been a few minutes before we saw a ginormous tsunami wave approaching us. With no cars moving, me and my parents had to leave the car and run onto this massive field. We ended up running through this city, and we watched almost every building tumble from the amount of water coming at them. Surprisingly, we found a massive wall which separated the rest of the country from London, and we successfully got through. We watched on a TV as each and every city slowly crumbled. Some police officers approached us and told us that we were going to have to go underground as the wall couldn't take the amount of water. We tried rushing over, but the doors to the bunker were locked. Our last hope was to go up to the top of the Shard, the tallest building in London. And we all went there and somehow got up. We watched as the water slowly surrounded us. Now that I look back, I have no idea why we went to London of all places. The Thames is a big part of it, so it would have been flooded easily. But dreams don't always make sense in some areas. Thank you for taking the time to read this, and I hope this dream can be included in one of your podcasts.
Well, you're in luck.
Yeah, lucky you.
Yeah.
I thought that one was really interesting.
Yeah.
The flooding.
It's interesting there was a wall in their dream as well, just like yours.
You know what? I didn't even think of that until you said that. That is so weird. Like, that is really odd. Like, we were both trying to get to a major metropolitan area, and that area was blocked off by a wall. And also, I mean, so this person did seem to get into London, but they couldn't get into the bunker. So that's interesting. I was unable to get into Portland because of this wall and building that was blocking the way as well. It's very strange.
Interesting.
Yeah. What does it mean?
I don't know. Who's building these walls?
I know. Yeah. Very, very bizarre. That was a good catch there.
Yeah. Very, very good dream. Woo, or WHU.
Yeah. Thank you for sending us.
Yes.
Yeah. Weirdly connected.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Very, very cool.
Cool. Thank you all for the excellent submissions.
Yes, thank you. We have a special request for our next episode because it's going to be coming out around Halloween.
Yes. Either right before or right after. Or right on.
Yeah, who knows?
Ooh.
So we want all your spooky dreams.
Yeah. All your scary nightmares.
Yeah. We read plenty of spooky dreams on here because I think I've mentioned before, I feel like the dreams that you're going to remember the most are probably going to be the ones that have more of an impact on you, the ones that are maybe a little bit scarier.
Yeah.
But if you've been holding back on sending a nightmare or a creepy dream or something that just,
Sleep paralysis monster.
Oh, yeah. If you've ever had sleep paralysis demon, we want to hear about it.
I want to talk about one. Spoilers.
What?
I said spoilers for the next one. I'm going to talk about one.
Ooh, okay. Get excited. Yeah, so next episode is going to be a little bit spookier. We're still going to try and keep it, as soothing and cozy as possible, but
PG-13.
Yeah, just a fair warning. The next one will be a little bit might want to leave the lights on if you listen to this podcast before bed.
Yeah.
But yeah, please send us your spooky dreams. We're just gonna go full Halloween mode for the next one. So if you've been holding off, if you thought it was too scary for the podcast, just send it our way. We'll take a look. Maybe we'll read it.
Yeah, you're gonna need to get an extra warm glass of milk and hold your teddy bear extra tight for this one.
Yeah, and don't forget, you're gonna need one of those droopy nightcaps and a little candle that you hold in one hand, so that you can walk down your long hallway to your bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, it's gonna be so good. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'll have to find some good ones.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to read up more on nightmares, and I'll see if I can find something spooky in my dream journal.
I'll do some research on these creatures as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Little night creatures.
Actually, that's a good idea. What if each of us, you and me, we each find a dream creature to read about, like a nightmare creature?
That works.
We'll have to text each other in advance to make sure we don't pick the same one, but I think it would be cool if we both brought...
Or we could pick... It could be funny if we pick the same one. No, that'd be annoying.
But yeah, we should both bring a scary, creepy little guy to the next episode.
Yeah. Here's my little guy.
Check him out.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, he's horrifying. Great. Awesome.
Put that away.
Oh, he sucks. This is cool. I hate him.
Check out my little guy.
Oh, terrible.
My guy gives you nightmares by biting your scalp.
Ooh, disgusting. Oh, I hate him.
Great. Oh, it's the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. I hate how he looks, how he smells.
Yeah, really
vile.
I
hate what he's doing to my brain. Doing bad stuff to my brain juices.
Mm-hmm.
My dream juices.
Looks like that guy looks like if he sat in a tree, he'd mess up that tree.
Yeah. And what was it? If his spit gets in your head, then it makes you have a nightmare. What was it? Was that what it was?
It was like, no, but I like that better. It was if rainwater drips through a nightmare tree onto your head, then you have a nightmare.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, my guy, he spits on your head to give you nightmares.
Ew. Maybe there is such a creature. We'll have to see.
I'll have to do our research.
Yes. Well. Oh, where do people send these beautiful dreams?
Oh my gosh, how could I have forgotten?
I almost forgot.
You can send us all your spooky dreams or your non-spooky dreams to dreamteampodcastsubmissions@gmail.com.
Yes. And we'll be reading through all of them. And yeah.
Oh, I read every single one.
Oh, yes.
Every single one. And I love all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're hearing this episode and you want to see some pictures of nightmare pines and dream demons, check out our Instagram at dreamteam with Alice and Trent.
Yeah. Sorry, I was mid-yawn because it's getting late.
It is getting pretty late. We should probably wrap it up.
Yeah. Well, this was a fun episode. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one. Send us all your scary things, all your scary dreams. Show this to your friends. If you got friends who've had really scary nightmares and they want to talk about it, then you can have them send one in. Or you can record what they say and send it to us, I guess. Is that a violation of HIPAA?
We're not doctors. We're not doing doctor stuff. Anything goes and on the dream team.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you all for tuning in, and yeah.
But until then, yeah. Thank you for listening. Thank you for waiting on us for this next episode. Mm-hmm. And we hope that you get some really great sleep in the meantime.
Yeah. No nightmares yet.
Yeah, keep an eye out. Even though we want you to send us your spooky dreams, we don't necessarily want you to keep having them. So
have more, yeah.
Yeah. But if you do wake up and there's a creepy little guy sitting on your chest, write that down.
Oh, yeah. We get rid of the guy first and then write it down.
Yeah. You have to call on the call that Baku to come eat him.
Mm-hmm. Or have the spooky guy write something down.
Oh yeah.
Proof that he's a spooky guy. I'm a spooky horrible monster and then I'm a dream monster.
I wonder what they dream about.
Oh.
That must be really disturbing.
We'll have to find out.
All right. Well, I'm going to go to bed.
Same. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Sleep tight. Sweet dreams.
Good night. Ah. Was that a scream or a yawn? You'll never know. Tune in the next episode and find out.